Hi, everybody. Well, it's wonderful to be on a rotating stage. I've never actually done that before. I guess it's a reflection of the world of tourism that keeps spinning before us. Really happy to be here at Tarais. As the MC just mentioned, my name is Rumana Bersachi. I'm an anchor for Bloomberg Television. I do spend a lot of time here in Saudi Arabia, and it's wonderful to be present for a tourism panel, tourism conference. There are so many fun topics that we're going to be discussing throughout the course of this panel. It is called Trade Winds and Travel Flows, and we know that global trade and travel are being redefined before our eyes. The routes of goods, capital, people are all changing direction, driven by new technologies, new alliances, and shifting centers of gravity in the world economy. So today we're going to talk about how these flows are redefining global connectivity and how governments and businesses can turn this realignment into an opportunity, but more specifically, how different sectors of the economy can work together to help achieve the ultimate endgame. So delighted to introduce our panelists, His Excellency Khalid Al-Faleh, Minister of Investment for Saudi Arabia. Yeah. To his left, Commissioner Apostolos Tzitzikostas, Commissioner for Sustainable Transport and Tourism from the European Commission. To his left, Pansy Ho, Executive Chairman and Managing Director of Shuntak Holdings. To her left, His Excellency Gao Zheng, the Vice Minister of Culture and Tourism for China. And then to his left, Greg O'Hara, the founder and Managing Director of Certares. So wonderful group of voices. Your Excellency, I'm going to start with you. Your remit is you're the Minister of Investment for Saudi Arabia. So I'm going to start off quite simply asking you, how do you see the intersection between investments, channeling investments into this country, and tourism?
Thank you very much, Jomana, for moderating, and let me congratulate my colleagues from the Ministry of Tourism and the Tourism Authority and Tourism Fund, the entire ecosystem led by His Excellency Ahmed Al-Khatib for putting together this global summit at the ministerial level the last few days and starting this innovative, creative gathering to rise. But really it comes as no surprise from this team and from His Excellency. It's a continuation. I don't want to say culmination because I think he still is climbing a new peak of performance after another. But it's a continuation of a great performance. And when I look at tourism in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, it's a bright star in a sky full of bright skies, of bright stars since the launch of Vision 2030. It's really one of our pride sectors in terms of what we have achieved. You ask about tourism and investment, and I think the correlation between the two is so obvious to anybody who analyzes the data. If you look globally at the rising destinations for tourism, they're also the most competitive investment. And these are also the areas where capital formation and everything related to tourism, and of course tourism is quite a soft, there are no hard lines around what tourism assets are because it impacts quality of life, travel, entertainment, culture, sports, and so on and so forth. But it's clear, as I mentioned, if you look at countries, even countries that don't have a rich endowment, a competitive position to be a global tourism destination, they have been able to position themselves in the tourism map by investing wisely and by being a good investment ecosystem and attracting a lot of investment. A simple example is Singapore. Mm-hmm. In Singapore, I think tourism GDP is 11 to 12%, and their GDP, and we know they are one of the top investment ecosystem. And yes, there are investments by the sovereign wealth funds of Singapore initially to seed the sector, but most of the investment there is private sector led. You look at Turkey within our broader region, again, they have been rising in the ranks of tourism, but they're also attracting a lot of investment, domestic and foreign. Our brothers and partners in the UAE have done amazing in travel and tourism. And it's not so much the natural endowment, and I don't want to put that down, but again, it's tourism. In Saudi Arabia, let me just pivot to Saudi Arabia briefly. Our tourism numbers have been well advertised. We've gone from very modest when we launched Vision 2030 and His Excellency launched his tourism strategy to today where GDP contribution of tourism is about north of 200 billion Saudi riyal, approaching 5%. The midpoint to where we want to be in 2030. We've exceeded our target of 100 million tourist visits already, which was the target in 2030. And if you say, how does this correlate with investment? Our capital formation, the total assets that are invested in tourism have gone up by a factor of 5.
Yeah.
A factor of 5. If you look at FDI inflow in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, it has tripled. If you look at FDI into hospitality, hotels, residential for tourism, it has gone up by a factor of 8, and we have put in 180,000 hotel rooms, hotel keys, since the launch of the investment strategy, the tourism strategy and Vision 2030. So the correlation is and one more thing, countries that are attractive tourist destination, business people are comfortable being there. They feel this is a good environment and therefore they invest. So it's a virtuous cycle. Investment brings tourism, tourism brings investment.
Okay. So Commissioner, His Excellency brought up a very important point, which is actually having a tourism strategy in place. And I know Europe are devising a tourism strategy. Europe at the same time is known for placing the pillars of digitization, sustainability at the core of the mission. How do you bring all of those things together in a tourism strategy that is going to succeed over the next few years?
Well, first of all, you have to understand some key figures here. The European Union today is the top destination in the world. We received in 2024 760 million arrivals, which amounts to about 40% of the global travel. In Europe, for us, tourism is a major sector.
Yeah.
It's about 12% of our GDP, in many countries more than 20, and we have about 20 million people working in this sector, 4 million businesses. So it is very important now with the new developments that we have in the world globally to create an EU strategy. And actually it will be the first ever EU strategy because the Commission, the European Union, has decided to invest in this sector of our economy. So what we are going to try to do, after having discussed and opened a consultation with all the stakeholders in Europe and outside Europe, and of course with our citizens, is that we are creating this strategy that I will present in April of 26, where we will basically try to tackle all the major challenges that EU tourism has today, mainly the phenomenon of unbalanced tourism that we have in Europe in some periods of the year, in some areas of Europe. Secondly, we're going to tackle the issue of climate change, the need for more resilient infrastructure and more resilient sector in general. We will address the issue of the need of skilling and reskilling the people working in tourism because of new technologies, AI and so on, but also we will try to address the issue of the lack of the workforce that we have. Today, we are lacking about 1 million positions in tourism, in the tourism sector in Europe. So we need to address this, and we need to address it quickly. And of course, we will deal with issues of sustainability, because for us, sustainability is not only about the environment. Quite the contrary. Sustainability has to do with the economy. Sustainability has to do with connectivity. Sustainability has to do, above all, with society and with the destinations. So we need to protect our cultural heritage. We need to protect our society. We don't want people to feel uneasy with the tourism flows that are big in Europe. And so we will work in this comprehensive strategy that will be presented. And I think that through this strategy, we will then build, along with the help of our member states, all the policies that are needed in order to tackle one by one all the issues involved.
Your Excellency, Vice Minister Gao, first of all, Sabah al-Khair, شرفنا بحضورك. I discovered that he speaks perfect Arabic, by the way, backstage. I would love to hear your thoughts, and hopefully in English, we could address this question. But, China's outbound and inbound travel markets have been massively shaping global tourism flows. What have been some of your key learnings from the industry as tourism has developed, both outbound and inbound within China?
Thank you so much. صباح النور.
I told you, perfect Arabic.
مسرور جدا بهذا بالمؤتمر وبالسامت. وأشكر على البلد المملكة السعودية بإضافة هذا القيمة. I was told to dress casually, but believe me, I'm very serious in my answers. In China, we take tourism industry as a strategic strategy industry. For last year, the domestic visitors in China reached 5.6 billion people for domestic market. For outbound, Chinese visitors reaches more than 100 million visitors, and inbound almost the same. So it's a very big industry in China, and we attach much more important for tourism industry. We take it as a strategic and also happiness industry, because it's very important to create more opportunities to work. So what we have done in the past 5 years, I take the opportunity to introduce. For the last 5 years, we have established more than 58 traveler destinations at national level, so that now in China we have more than 10,000 destinations at national travel. And what we have done is we combine, we call integration in China for the tourism industry. We combine culture and tourism, and we integrate tourism with agriculture, with industry, with arts, etc. Also, we try to meet all kinds of demands for the visitors, for the kids, as a tour for study, and for the old people. We arrange special trains for the old people, and also we welcome, we make more facilities for the foreign visitors to China. Now everybody probably know, we are planning for the next 5 plans for China. It is the 15th China National Plan, and we will make a special plan for tourism industry.
Yeah.
There are many, I think, opportunities. We welcome all the people from the world to China. We welcome all the enterprises, the investment in China. As the Ministry of Culture and Tourism, we are ready to welcome you, to cooperate with you, and do all what we can do for you. Welcome to China. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Pansy, maybe just to follow on from that, you have a huge portfolio of investments, companies in Macau. When people think of Macau, they associate it with gaming. How important do you think is it to diversify sources of tourism and not just be reliant on one specific sector?
Yes. First of all, I'm so happy to be here, and I'm really honored to be with this panel of very important veteran investors related, as well as policies, and regulation driven developments in tourism and hospitality in the world. All these experts here ahead of me. I'm really just a small participant, but I've been, in a way, also blessed to have worked throughout my whole career, in a way, in this particular sector, following from, my father's lead in creating, in fact, the very important pillar industry for Macau some 60 years ago.
Yeah.
So when you talked about gaming was, predominantly the single most important industry sector, which had led on to the development of the other parts of the city's economic growth 60 years ago. Now into my generation, the second generation, we have had now the reverse kind of experience, or now new duties on our hands. So we can survive on a very robust pillar industry of gaming, but now we are into this new kind of dimension, both following on to the prescription of our country's policies, as well as finding our own new growth. We need to not rely on just one sector, and therefore we are now reinventing Macau. That's part of my job. That's also part of where the opportunities come from. We are now developing a more robust non-gaming diversification game plan. In fact, Macau is so advanced that when we were trying to bid tender for our second term concession, gaming is very rigorously regulated in Macau. It's not just a licensing operation. It's a bidding process to earn a concession. So through the second concession bidding just 3 years ago, we were rated on the basis of not how you fare on your gaming performances, but rather the KPI was set on the basis of your non-gaming diversification planning, strategy, and investments.
Yeah.
So to that point, for instance, I am the chairman of MGM China in Macau. I also sit on the company that oversee another concession that my family has had the opportunity to operate on for the past 60 years. MGM China earned first place, in fact, in this round of concession because of our very, very strong proposition on capitalizing on culture, heritage, and we put together a game plan to develop out museums, residency shows that is putting on heritage performances, and we also will take part in community reactivation or programming. And so these are all the things that we can do together with, of course, the government's policies and encouragement. The best public-private partnership, I think, would be important in order to propel these developments forward. It demands not just concepts, but also real investments. So I will give you, it might not be a good idea to expose, this becomes also our weakness, but it is in a way an attribute. The amount of money we had dedicated to building out these programs for Macau during the next 10 years is amounting from just my company about 30 billion US dollars that we have to, put back into investments.
Yeah.
From obviously what we could earn from also the gaming sector.
Yeah.
The goal is to, when we get to the 10-year term, which would be in 2029, we need to be able to demonstrate that we would have non-gaming revenues measuring at 50%, whereas today it is around 35%. So those are clear KPIs that is put
Clear
in place.
targets. Yeah. Greg, well, we've heard from multiple voices from the Middle East, from Europe, from Asia. And I just wonder, given your vast experience of investing in and around the travel industry over the course of your career, do you feel like there's more of a pull to invest in this part of the world away from some of the more mature tourism markets?
Absolutely. If you look at the macro for the region, not just Saudi Arabia, but the whole region, it's the fastest growing traveler base in the world. As many of them go to Europe, because it's impossible to get 750 million people into anywhere. I think you're seeing a lot more domestic and regional opportunities here. I think 10 years ago, if you were a luxury Saudi traveler or a luxury Gulf traveler, you had no choice but to go to Europe or America or Southeast Asia. I think now you have a lot of choices locally. Just to shout out, thank you, Minister Al-Khatib, for inviting me. It's an honor to be on this panel. If you look at some of the things they've done, like we all went to Qiddiya last night, that's an enormous greenfield site that I don't know has ever been attempted by anybody, right? I've been coming to Saudi now for 30 years, and the pace of reform here in terms of the investment environment, the pivot towards tourism from a natural resources economy is spectacular. Nothing short of it. For all those of you who haven't been, if you want to see the best executed greenfield site, heritage site I've ever seen, Alula, for instance, is as good as it gets anywhere. Everyone should take notes and go there. The public sector here, including His Excellency Minister Al-Fallah, has been very, very supportive of the private sector coming into Saudi Arabia. There are easy partnerships to form. They have formed a vast number of organizations who are here to assist you in investing in Saudi. For our part, for instance, we have an initiative. We've been doing this outside of Saudi Arabia for quite a while. We have an initiative with the French government, for instance, to encourage tourism to France. You'd have to argue that France is probably one of the least struggling countries in the world in attracting tourists. But Caisse de Dépôt has an investment arm, BPI, that we've invested in distribution and a number of other assets with. In fact, it's been so successful in France, we're pleased today to announce that ourselves and BPI and Kingdom Holdings are committing $250 million to invest in the Saudi tourism area. I know it doesn't sound like a lot of money when you talk about giga projects and whatnot, but it's private money and it's aimed at the things that Saudi still needs to execute well. Think of the more boring, less flashy assets like not the equivalent of American coin laundromats and car washes, things like DMCs and ground transportation and a bunch of other things that are less flashy but necessary to get people going. In Oman, we have an initiative which is a $200 million initiative that we're starting with the Omani Investment Authority. Although I'm in Saudi Arabia today, I hope no one minds, Oman is a fantastic country to visit and somewhere where I would encourage you, if you want a good taste of the Middle East, the people are friendly, the assets are great, they're by no means as developed as Saudi Arabia. But I think you're going to find that the region itself is one of the more attractive regions. When measured last thing. If you take the two fastest outbound travel markets in the world, China and India, 88% of Indians, 82% of Indians and 88% of Chinese have a positive predisposition to come to the region. Whereas that number would have been America or Europe, it now is regional focus. So you'll see us concentrate a lot on bringing Chinese here, bringing regional folks to China, and bringing Indians here and bringing regional folks to India.
Well, I want to get through another round of questions, so we're going to have just a couple of minutes each. But Your Excellency, Greg mentioned Al-Ula, and I was thinking about Saudi Arabia as a destination for tourism and the role that heritage, cultural pull, people wanting to reconnect with culture but also with nature as well, and where that gets factored in to Saudi Arabia quite simply as a destination for investment, for tourism.
Well, let me just first pick up on what Greg just said. We analyze the financial statements of our clients in the Ministry of Investment, the foreign investors. Last year alone, the revenue of foreign investors into travel and tourism doubled in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. It's really an inflection point for our industry. And when we compare travel and tourism with the other sectors, which are all doing good, thank you very much, but the healthiest in terms of margins and cash flow was travel and tourism. So indeed, we're talking about a sector that is on fire in a positive way. Why the kingdom? I think we're blessed. First, we're blessed by God. We have Mecca and Medina. This is unique. Yes, it's spiritual. People come to perform their religious duties, but along the way and afterwards or before, they can perform tourism as well. And we have the duty, but also the opportunity to develop that value chain, so to speak. We have thousands of history, millennia of history, and it's the archaeology of Saudi Arabia that has been one. There are many other endowments of history, the topography of Saudi Arabia, from the mountains of the southwest, snow peaks, in Neom to the empty quarter, and of course the coast of the Red Sea and the diving experience that is second to none. The culture, the authenticity of Saudi Arabia. This is unique, and we want to cling on to it. Infrastructure that is best in class and developing. A business environment, as Greg said, we don't claim to be perfect in everything, but certainly that is the objective, to make our investors feel that this is the best destination. You put it all together, and I think Saudi Arabia has to be, if not the top, one of the top destinations for investment.
Pansy, I'll come back to you, Commissioner, but I also just want to ask you this. Also, what other destinations can learn from Macau's experience on combining culture, heritage, and modern hospitality?
Yes. Actually, following on to the earlier answer, what I would like to add to it is not only do we bring a lot of our investments now into building out the facilities to present our own unique and local culture. What's important now, we're part of China. So, and our biggest source market also is, in fact, from within China. You just heard our minister said that the domestic travel is measuring up to 5 billion a year. Macau itself earns about 35 to 40 million visitors coming to Macau for a place that is only 33 square kilometers with 600,000 population base. So in order to capitalize on that, but to build on our future growth, we also invest into other parts of China. That is the interesting, proposition here I would like to suggest. We are now following on to Minister's outlining of our 15th five-year plan. The emphasis today is all about multilateral collaboration. Mm-hmm. So multilateral between countries within the region as well as even within the different regions in our country, because we have 30 some provinces. Each of them has their own unique cultural heritage. So now we want to become, and the State Department also had granted to Macau a special and unique position as an international linkage, yet capitalizing on our ability to link with the global international infrastructure. So we would like to present also other parts of the country using Macau as a base. So now if you come to Macau, not only will you see our heritage, you will see all the different heritage within the country.
Yeah. Commissioner, I want to take you down a different tack, which is the importance of smart tourism and incorporation of, we spent a lot of time talking about AI, but how is that going to be influencing your upcoming tourism plan and strategy?
Well, AI will play a crucial role, of course, in the new strategy, because we are assessing that the use of AI will bring an increase in tourism of about 15%. So we believe that the whole experience of a tourist visit will change with AI. And of course, from the minute someone starts to book a ticket until the time he visits the place he chooses, AI can play a significant role. However, since you know very well that AI has some challenges, the European Union has already decided, and we have presented an EU AI Act in order to address ethical issues and put some rules in how AI is developed, and of course in tourism as well. But what we want to do is to create a trustworthy AI instrument that will be useful and will not dehumanize the tourism sector.
Yeah.
Because tourism is all about people, is all about connections, and it's all about bringing the world closer. And having said that, I want to congratulate the Minister of Investment and the whole government, of course, along with the Minister of Tourism, who has an excellent vision on tourism, because they are really transforming Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is now a country that creates huge prospects for investments, we heard that, but also as a tourist destination. And we, the European Union, this is why I'm here, we are investing in this partnership with Saudi Arabia. The kingdom has done tremendous work. The infrastructure is changing. I can tell you this, having visited the past 2 days, several very important places here, both on tourism infrastructure, but also on transport, which is another area of my responsibility. And I can tell you that this kind of model is the model that we should understand that it is a good example of how we support tourism in a sustainable way, supporting the economy, but at the same time protecting the destination and the cultural heritage. So congratulations, Minister.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for the very, very valuable exchange we had yesterday. The European Union is looking forward to continuing this collaboration with Saudi Arabia.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Vice Minister, also a question to you about how you think artificial intelligence is going to change the outlook for tourism.
Me?
That's you.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you for the
Do you
question.
want it to be mine?
Okay. Next, you answer the question. In China, we think AI is very helpful for tourism industry. Now in China, we call it smart industry. Here, I want to share some cases for you. First, let's say a smart destination. For example, in China, there is a very famous destination. Usually, here we call it smart transportation, or smart destination. Usually, it takes you 1 hour from downtown to the destination. And this destination, every year, it receives more than 10 million people. So transportation is very important. So with the smart transportation from 1 hour in the past. Now it only takes you 20 minutes to arrive the destination. Another case is smart glasses. We have many foreign visitors in China, so now we have smart glasses. You wear the glasses and you speak your mother language, I think Arabic, one of them, of course. Then the glasses will speak will translate it automatically to Chinese. And also we have smart luggage service. You arrive at the airport, you just tell the number of your luggage to your agency in China, and you go to your hotel directly. Then the luggage will wait you in your room. And
That's
also we have smart bones. The old people like to climb mountains, but sometimes it's difficult to climb. So with the help of artificial bones, you can climb, or it's very easy for you. And also another case, I call it smart order. For example, if you take the train in China, you can order the food, not supplied by the train, but you can order any food in China at the stop. For example, you can order Beijing duck. Also, you can order shawarma. When the train stops, okay, the food will come to you. But anyway, artificial and smart tourism is very, very, very important in China. Why? Because just as I said before, last year we have more than 5.6 billion travelers in China. So we have to use
facilitate
AI. Finally, I want to say we are still at the beginning. We have to work hard, but we think we have opportunity, we have chances and challenges together. Here I want to use the Arabic Saudi saying, "Idlub ala al-kaid, la tasma' kalam." We just do it. Thank you.
Love it. Greg, I'm going to give the final word to you. Just a minute or two. What is the modern day traveler looking for? How has that changed since the pandemic? What is the modern day traveler looking for? How has that changed since the pandemic?
So if you look at 10 years ago, the person's discretionary spending was probably 80% white goods spender, 20% services. That's flipped. Now, a lot of those things are because I'm not buying record albums anymore. I have a Spotify subscription, right? So there's some of those things. But I think if you look at discretionary spending, especially young people have tilted. I have people in my office that earn quite a lot of money, more than I'd like, and they don't care if they own a house. They don't care if they have a car. They don't care if they have a fancy watch. They spend almost all their money on traveling. We've never seen that before, right? People want to have experiences and services. So I think people look for, it's an overused word, but authenticity. The minister spoke about cultural heritage sites. You could argue that Macau and China are giant cultural heritage sites. I left out, a bunch of places in China, but if you haven't been to Xi'an, you should go, right? There's nothing like it in the world. It's almost unbelievable that it's there. So I think people are going to get out of their homes. They're going to spend money on services. They're going to fly different places. They're going to go different places. The minister said before, safety is really important. I think if you can go somewhere, feel safe and not get sick and see things that you've never seen before, you're game for that. I think you're going to see tourism keep growing. I think it's going to outpace GDP. And I think if you're an investor in the tourism industry, you're going to be happy over the next decade.
Fantastic. Distinguished panelists, thank you so much. And thank you, audience, for attending our Turai session today. Thank you.